Hey everybody, it's Matthew of Mr. Domestic, where I spread joy and positivity through sewing and fabric play. And in this video, I am going to share with you my new obsession of making a Lone Star Quilt. Yay! It was super duper fun and a lot easier than you would think it would be. So if you are along for that journey, then before we get into the content, anytime you're enjoying it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Now let's have some fun making some Lone Star Quilt goodness! So I have made half of the Lone Star, and this is it. I just wanted you to see what it looks like. And then essentially it's two blocks. That's one block and that's one block, and each one has two diamonds. And then there are some other pieces, and I'm going to walk you through all of this. But the first thing that I'm going to walk you through is how to construct one of these diamonds. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And I'm going to have an explanation of all this in diagram form and give you the exact measurements. But I'm going to walk you through that construction next. Woo woo! So now you can see these strips cut out. I'm doing it 2.5 inches wide. I'm just trying to make them pre-cut friendly if you do use pre-cuts, and that's the width of a jelly roll. But these are cut from fat quarters. Some of them are just a fat quarter. Some of them you need a half yard. Once again, I'll have the explanation of all of that in a diagram form that you'll be able to link to in the description. But this is where I'm starting. So the center is here, and this is the top. And it's strip piecing and cutting at an angle, essentially. And each of the rows has 6 fabrics in it. To the first row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I'm going to need, and I'll put these away. So I need one of each of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll put these away just so you can see how I'm going to arrange it. Like this. So this will start here. And then since we're going to cut at an angle, it's actually a 45-degree angle we're eventually going to cut. You're going to want to move this over about 2 inches. So this one's going to go like this. The next one is going to go like this. Then, oh, this one goes here. JK, JK. This one is going to go like this. This one's going to be like that. This one will be over. And then, woo! Slip and slide. And then this one is going to be like this. And then you're going to stitch up all of these at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So use that 1/4 inch foot if you have it. And then we're going to slice them. So I'll walk you through some of the stitching of this just so that you can see it to get in the groove of it. But one other thing for you to be aware of is that this is going to be the first row. The next row in this, we're going to move up. So this will be the bottom. And then I believe, I don't remember which one, but whatever the next one is going to be there. Then you'll just continue going up until you get to the 6th row, which would be beginning with that one. So let's get over to Alfonso. So I've estimated the 2 inches, and then I go there, and I'm just going to start stitching. Slow it down. Ooh, hey, hairy arm. Okay, and I'm stitching this one all the way down. Ooh, exciting. Okay, I can go a little faster. Hey, I can already tell that this tutorial is going to be a fun one, folks. Okay, and then now snip it. And I'll just do one more. Okay, so now I have the next one attached. I've opened this, attached the next one. I'm going to go ahead and stitch this one down, once again at a 1/4 inch. Go all the way down. And I'm going to continue with the other 3 strips in this one. And then fast forward so you don't have to listen to me talk. Fast forward now. Okay, now I have finished this first set of 6. And I'm going to take it, I'm not going to show you me pressing it, but I'm going to open the seams. If this is your first time ever seeing a quilting video, it's like that. I'm doing that for this first one so that I don't have to think whenever I'm putting the bigger pieces together, and I like to remove as much thinking as possible. So if y'all want to argue and debate about this in the comments, go for it. But that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come back, and there are going to be 6 different of these with the seams butterflied. Yes, I'm trying to make that happen. And we're going to get some cutting on. Okay, so now I have them all sewn, all 6 of them. And see, my seams are butterflied. Hashtag butterflied seams, make it work. It's pressed open for those who don't get the joke. Now I just want to show you how they are. See, this is one that starts at the very center. And then the next one, I start there, right? And then the next one, I start there, right? The next one, I start there, boom. And the next one, I start there, see? And you just continue. Oh, there's one more. The next one, I start there. So now we need to cut them into the strips that we're going to sew. And this will create the diamonds. And for 45-degree angles, the width of the strip is going to be about how far apart each is. And so on this, I'm going to find the 45-degree angle, which is, where is it? Where is it? I need to be over here. Okay, so find the 45-degree angle. See, I lined it up with the seam right here and get as close as possible. And this first cut is the one that needs to be as precise as possible. And then now just cut, 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 cut. And this is the stragglies. Ooh la la. And now I'm going to take this right here and 2.5 inches this way is this. See? 1, 2, 2.5. And I'll cut another one. And 2.5, once again, is the width of the strip. So that's how much I need to move over on this. As some kind of like mathematical like wizardry, that is just magical. And since these are fat quarter width, which is about 22 inches, you can get about 4 or 5 of each of these ordered strips. And for each half of the Lone Star at this size, you need 4 of each. So you'll have way more than enough here. Boom, boom, boom. Ta-da. Once again. And then this is the last one. I think this is the 5th one. But don't get these away. You can use it for like fun binding or something. Dun, 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 dun. See? Moved it over 2.5 inches. The final one. And now this goes into the scrap pile. So, ooh, close it. Do this with all 6 of the ordered strips. And then I'll come back and I'm going to show you 2 different ways to sew this together. One's going to be meticulous, and then one is going to be the way that I do it. So come back, I'm almost done. So ta-da! Here's the party! It creates this amazing diamond, but now you have to sew these together. And I'm going to show you 2 ways. The first way I'm going to show you is if you want those points to be ting-ting crisp. The second way is how I'm going to do it for the rest of it after that, because I just want to get it done. But we're all different kind of sewists and makers, so I'm going to give you both options depending on what your needs are. So I'm going to sew these 2 together and prep those just to show you how to get those points. You'll need a ruler and a pen, and I can't find my friction pen, so I'm going to use a real pen, so whatever. So the precise method, putting these 2 together, is the first step is finding out where a 1/4 inch is there. So with a ruler, and I'm using a real pen because I can't find my friction pen, but right where those intersections are, do this with chalk or with an erasable pen. Just mark them. And it's a 1/4 inch, right? And that will tell you where the point is. And then do the same thing with the adjoining one. Here. Boom. And just mark this. And then after this, I am going to baste them with glue. Let me show you. So now I have some glue, and I'm just going to put it inside the seam allowance on one of them, on each intersection. And this should mostly be precise when you just lay it on there, but there's human error with the cutting, so to make it super precise, you want to match that point to that point. Let me see if you can see what I'm doing here. Point to point. And I'm going to bring it in closer so you can see it a little bit better. Right there. And then heat set it. I'll bring the camera down. So I brought it in closer so that you can see it. So this needs to match right there. There's already glue on it. So see? See how I'm doing that? Just pushing it on there. Right there. And the distance between that point to that point on the diamonds may or may not be precisely the same. So that's what this is all about. Go right there. You're getting that intersection. And yes, this is extra, but some of y'all folks are extra sewists and you like it to be perfect. So I'm trying to accommodate here, folks. And then, see, it's gonna hit there, right? And then, ta-da! And then one more. See? I had to pull it a little bit to really get it in there. And boom. So those are done. And it's pretty flat. Oh, I must have cut it super good. But see how here, there's a little bit of a gap? So you have to pull it as you're sewing it, and I'll show you that technique now. So that should naturally line up at 1/4 of an inch. The intersection there. Just line this up. No reason to speed sew here. And just go. Making sure, especially, that this line is flush up against that edge. And these points should be va-va-voom when I press them. Okay, there's a gap here, so I have to pull it just a little bit to make it taut. Don't over pull it. And then there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then I'll press this one after. Yeah. See? See how perfect the points are? It's worth it if that's what you're looking for to get there. Oh yeah, see? Perfection. It's really, perfection there. Okay, so let me show you the way that I'm really going to. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it, is that all I care about right here, none of this is basted. I want this intersection right here, that point to be at 1/4 of an inch. And then I estimate it. And then I just get started. And it's okay if it's not perfect. And then once I get started, since math is generally like my friend with this, I'm going to make sure that this end is at 1/4 of an inch. And then I will pull the entire thing a little bit more than taut. And I'm going to show you an out version once I show you this. And I'm just gradually holding it. And all I care about is making sure that all of these are flush. The two edges are flush. See how it's starting to buckle? Make it flush. And I'm gradually pulling it in the back. And you'll see it as I'm getting closer. What I've been doing the whole time. See? I've been doing that the whole time. Just making sure. And then I put my finger down here to hold it. And then I'll continue. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. And there we go. And let's look at these points. They won't be perfect. Ooh, JK, JK. Ooh, good enough for me. Good enough. And see, if you cut well, then this should be fine. But if any of them are ever askew or off, it's like, whatever. Who's going to look that closely at your quilt? And now I'm going to pull it back so you can see what I was doing from an aerial view. Hey, y'all. What are you doing? I'm standing and sewing, and it is fun. So, okay, I have these together. I have the strip, and I'm continuing the diamond, right? So all I care about, I'm going to make sure that that intersection right there is a 1/4 inch this way. And then I put this down here, and I get started sewing. Just sew a couple stitches. That's just to set the stitch. And then I go to the end here, and I do the same thing. Just guesstimate that it's a 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to pull. I'm not pulling too taut because I don't want it to stretch, which it naturally would do because it's on the bias. Just going to pull it enough to where these line up, and they are good to go. And then I just sew, and then along the way, I line up the edge. Still pulling this to where it's taut, but not more taut than the natural state of the fabric. I just want these to buckle up against each other. Like this. And then when it gets closer, I can use my finger. Lift this a little bit, get this under. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Yeah! So I just continue to do that. And they're good enough. Like, for real, unless you're doing like a show quilt or something, come on, folks. Just be done with your diamonds. So I'm going to continue this, and then I'm going to do the other 3. Then I'm going to show you how to create the pink background part over there, how to measure that, and then sew that and put it all together. Real quick, now that I have this sewn, I'm not going to open these seams. I'm going to press them to one side, and they're all going to go this way. I slightly pull on it just to move them to one side. And as long as you do it the same way for all 8 of them, have them going the same direction, like I know they're going towards that, then you're good. It'll spin great when you put it all together. And then I do another press here just to open it all up. And it's gonna look wonky because it's on the bias, but use steam. If you use best press, use flatter, use something just to open this all up, because you need this as flat as possible to get the accurate dimensions of the border pieces. So, yay for ironing. Now I'll show you how to do the border. So geometry. I love math. I'm a math geek. If you don't dig it, just follow along with me, and hopefully this will make sense. To complete the Lone Star, you're going to need to cut out 4 squares of one size, and then 4 squares of another size. And if you don't want to mess with figuring this out, just follow along with the dimensions that I come up with and show you, and you'll be good to go. I'm showing you this for those who want to do a different size or maybe a pillow version. But once you have this set up to create the 4 squares, the 4 larger ones, you'll look at this length right here. This is 18 inches. So you'll need to cut 4 18 by 18 squares that you will later cut into larger half square triangles. The other 4 smaller squares will be this, which is the height right here. This lands at 12 3/4 inches, so you will need 4 12 3/4 inch squares that you will cut into half square triangles, and they will be attached to this in the manner that I am going to show you. You put it together, you have a Lone Star quilt. Ta-da, shazam! I'm sewing on the 2 different size triangles. I start with the smaller one, and that will attach to this. And I just line it up on this edge, this edge right here, and then this edge, and then stitch it. Why I do this one first is because then it creates something that you can line up the larger triangle with, which is this one. This is the 18 inch. It lines up there. It has a straight edge. See? Without it, you wouldn't have that straight edge, just to make sure that it was in alignment, and it stitches up a lot easier. So I've moved to my floor, and yes, I have crap all over my floor. I'm in the middle of a Craftnado, but I wanted to show you this. So those are, like, that right there is the larger square that I cut in half. Those two are the smaller squares that I cut in half. And you're gonna make 4 of those. This is one that's stitched up. And I'm not gonna show you how to stitch up beyond showing you the order that I go in, because I think by now you know how to stitch at a 1/4 inch. And then do 4 of those. This goes together, this goes to that, then those will go to this, and you will have yourself a full Lone Star, folks. Full Lone Star. But just a couple more tips. One more tip just to show you what I did with these seams. These, anytime I have like high bulk, I like to leave this part flat. So I ironed it flat this way and flat this way to create these seams, just to keep this even. Otherwise it would be icky, like bubbly right here, and just makes it flatter. And then whenever I stitch the squares together, I open those seams, just because it seemed to be crisper for me. So those are some suggestions. That's how I did it. You do you, boo. And have fun making a Lone Star, folks. So yay! Now I've given you the steps of how I construct the Lone Star quilt, and hopefully some tips and tricks that will make it a lot easier and will turn like a month-long project into a weekend project of fun. And don't worry, folks, if you only watch the video, you can go down to the description and there is a pattern with the diagrams, dimensions, etc. that you can click on and download for your pleasure. So if you enjoyed this video, got a laugh or a tip or a trick, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Keep it positive, y'all. Mr. Domestic out.